In recent years, our region has re-emerged as a new center of American energy. First, there was the green building boom, then the discovery of natural gas in the Marcellus Shale, and a nuclear renaissance along the way. Add to that significant government, academic, and corporate research centers working on everything from production to distribution and conservation. And there's plenty of potential here. The National Academies of Science and Engineering are helping civic leaders make sense of it all through their Science and Engineering Ambassador program. The programming features fellows of the National Academies and rising stars as well. Dr. Paul Owadnicki is one of them. He's the Materials Science Technical Portfolio Lead at the National Energy Technology Laboratory, also a recent winner of the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Thanks. Thanks very much.
Yeah, and congratulations. Not a bad deal for, the homegrown favorite son of Pittsburgh, right?
I like to think so.
Yeah, no, it's really terrific. For folks who are not that familiar with the kind of work you do, or even with the NETL, we should probably first explain what the National Energy Technology Laboratory is. What do you all do down there in South Park?
Yeah, so we're one of multiple sites of the National Energy Technology Laboratory in South Park, and we have a mission of developing technologies that make power generation more efficient and environmentally friendly.
Okay, good things to work on. What in particular do you specialize in?
In particular, I'm a material scientist, and I focus on materials that are integrated with different types of components to perform a function like sensing or power conversion.
So how does that come into play when you're talking about sensing? Why do you constantly have to be looking for new materials?
So materials allow you to translate some parameter you want to measure into something that the device can interpret into a signal. So it plays a critical part in that component.
And so what, all different types of materials you take a look at to see what can best do this kind of thing?
Right, different types of functions have different materials, so whether it's an oxide or a metal or a polymer or other types of materials.
So, and why is this becoming so important, or why is it a critical thing for researchers to be looking at?
Well, with increased complexity of power generation systems, transmission distribution systems, as well as the importance of monitoring infrastructure, the ability to sense and measure things is becoming a very important part of our technological needs.
Well, I think we constantly hear about this talk about the smart grid and a much more dynamic, information-based system. Sure. It's a pretty big departure from the system that all those Westinghouse engineers put together about 100 years ago, is it not?
It is, and it's evolving moving forward, and as it evolves, it requires a lot more information in order to perform its new functions in a reliable and efficient way.
Okay, and so the kinds of research you're doing ultimately get deployed, hopefully, throughout the electrical system?
Yeah, so both from generation, we have projects that are involved with all the way from generation to resource recovery to the transmission distribution system.
Okay, you say you grew up in the eastern suburbs of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. What got you interested in this in the first place?
Just a passion for science and physics, and using my my own creative interests to try and develop things that are useful. That's really what pulled me into it.
Was it your academic experience that pointed you in this particular direction? Because science is a pretty broad thing. Science and engineering, there's a lot of different directions you can go.
Yeah, so I would say it's one of those organic things where as you grow, as a professional in the scientific path, you tend to gravitate towards the things that you're most passionate about and most interested in. And so this class of materials and these types of applications is just where my natural inclinations took me.
You just felt it was right.
Right, and a lot of good mentors along the way, all the way from high school up to undergraduate education, up to graduate advising, really helped to push me in the right direction.
Well, and you've been carving out a little bit of a reputation too as a mentor. Now, I mentioned the Science and Ambassadors program, but in other ways as well. It sounds like it's important to you not just to do the work, but to help others understand it.
Right, yeah, I have a very strong passion for mentoring, all the way from teaching to mentoring on a day-to-day basis with researchers who I collaborate with.
Yeah, for folks who don't know the Science and Ambassadors program, that's a really interesting initiative of the National Academies, which is a big deal in the world of science and engineering, to have them pilot this right here in our region.
Right, yeah, it's been a great experience for me as a scientist as well, really learning how to translate some of my own experience and expertise into things that that can be beneficial for the region in terms of understanding how energy impacts it.
Well, and it's such a challenge because to have the science behind the policy is there's often a disconnect there. And do you really feel like the program's helping you make those kinds of connections and make a difference there as well?
I think so. I think it helps to spur a lot of conversations questions and to have us interact in ways that we wouldn't be able to interact otherwise, and to learn how to take a step back from some of the very detailed, technically oriented aspects of our day-to-day career, and to interact with the region and other professionals.
Can it be a challenge to try to translate the really deep science you're doing into terms that somebody like me can understand?
It's a challenge more on my end than on your end, right? So it's tough for us to translate technically precise concepts into broader impacts, but I think it's definitely doable, and something that the program has really helped in terms of learning how to make that translation.
Well, it's terrific to see you involved in that, and I guess even more important to the kind of work you're doing, and to get the national recognition with a Presidential Early Career Award. So, Dr. Paul Owodnicki, congratulations, and
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. And when we return, the City of Asylum's new home on Pittsburgh's north side. Stay with us.